What's going on, everybody? Sean Daniel with Guitar Control here. Today's awesome because we're talking about how we're going to start incorporating melody with chords. We're going to do it in a super easy way that involves one scale and a few different chords. You probably already know a lot of this, but we're going to make some connections. We're going to link these together in a way that hopefully will really improve your playing that you'll be happy with. So make sure you click the link below because I'm going to tab out what we're going to do, and let's get right started, okay? We have the C major chord, number one chord a lot of people learn, and we're taking this from the C major scale, all right? So basically, when we talk about adding melody to a chord, basically a chord is going to be at least 3 different notes played at the same time, and a melody maybe is some kind of like little riff that you can do, you know, in replacement of a chord, on top of a chord. We're going to talk mostly how you can start adding these 2 chords to kind of do this whole all-in-one thing that you see a lot of really great players do, all right? So when I say the C major chord from the C major scale, I'm talking about 7 different notes, all right? Really easy, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. It's really important to know where those notes exist on the fretboard, but we're only gonna do it in one section because really this spot right here, the first 3 frets, is where all the money is made in guitar playing. So we need to learn where those notes are in the same place where we play a lot of these chords, all right? So if we just take those notes we talked about earlier, and again, this is gonna be the tab, and that link that you can click below, looks like this. Open 1, 3, which the notes are E, F, G. The next string, A string, open 2, 3, A, B, C. The next string down is a D string, open 2, 3, D, E, F. Next string down is G, G, A, open 2. Next string down, B string, open 1, 3, B, C, D. The next string down is an E string, just like the low E string, open 1, 3, E, F, G. So it's good to start thinking about maybe starting to learn some of the names of all these notes because they're going to come in really handy when it comes to naming the chords, etc. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Or open 1, 3, open 2, 3, open 2, 3, open 2, open 1, 3, open 1, 3. One of the reasons we're doing this in the key of C, aside from it being one of the most popular keys ever created, is that if you noticed, all of the open strings are in this scale, okay? So when you play an open string to any of these chords, it's always going to be fair game, all right? So we're going to take 3 chords, 3 of what I consider the main chords in the key of C. C major, A minor, and G major. Now we're going to start incorporating a lot of these notes on top of those 3 chords, all right? So what we're really going to focus in on is the bottom 3 strings that we did in that exercise earlier. The G string, remember, was open 2. The B string was open 1, 3. And the high string was open 1, 3. So this is really easy. Okay? G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Those are actually the notes G to G in the C major scale. Really easy to remember because the bottom 2 strings are just open 1, 3, open 1, 3. And then the G string is open 2. So really drill this forward and backward until you get a good feel where all those notes are without even having to look at them. And now we're going to talk about how we can add those to a C major chord. Alright, so my ring finger is on the 3rd fret of the A string. My middle finger is on the 2nd fret of the D string. The G string is open, and my pointer finger is on the 1st fret of the B string. Now if we take just the bottom 2 strings, the B and E string, remember, open 1, 3, open 1, 3, we can add that to a C chord. So we're already holding the 1st fret down on the B string. In fact, if you look at where all these notes come from in any of these positions, you'll notice that that scale that we did earlier has all those notes in play, right? Chords come from scales. So we can actually play the last 6 notes of that scale, open 1, 3, open 1, 3, on the B and E string, over a C scale, or a C chord. Okay? So, some of those sounds, some of those chords may appeal to you more than others, right? Those are just the different chords I can make by cycling through the notes on the B string. So I'm already kind of creating a little bit of a melody. C, D, B, C would be the notes that I took from that scale, and I'm combining it with this chord. Now technically I would be making a different chord every time I do this. I'd have a C major chord, I'd have a C, what's called a C add 9 chord, a C major 7 chord, and then another C chord. So that's one way of looking at it, that I'm just changing the chord every time I do it. Another way to look at it, I'm just cycling through notes in this key, adding it on top of a chord. So I don't think it has to be as difficult as being like C to C add 9, C major 7 to C. It's really just kind of playing around in the key of C. We can go one string further, open 1, 3, on the high string. Okay? Now I'm just advancing forward and backward through. And it'll always resolve back at that C major. So you can start putting different maybe strumming patterns on it. And it kind of sounds like I'm playing, you know, a bunch of different chords, which technically I am, but I'm just thinking of running through those with my free pointer and pinky, because again, my ring finger and my middle finger are kind of locked into the lower part of that C major chord. I can actually get crazy with maybe that. Remember we went open and 2 on the G string? I can add some of that note right there to any of these chords. Again, it's all about becoming comfortable finding the right hand shape for some of these chords and maybe combining them in different ways that you've never tried before. All right, so that's just on a regular C major chord. We're gonna do 2 more. A minor. This would be the 6th chord in the key of C. C, D, E, F, G, A. The 6th note is A. And again, we can use those same notes over an A chord, right? So let's say we start with the open G string. We can actually make this easier by just removing your ring finger, thus making an A minor 7 to an A minor. That's an inflection that we can always do with the A minor chord, regardless of what key you're in. You can do it as a hammer-on. We can start moving through the B string notes, open 1, 3. Then we start adding the high E strings, open 1, 3 on the high E string. I can go forward through the whole thing, open G, 2G, open B, 1B, 3B, open E, 1E, 3E. And again, I'm technically making all sorts of different chords, but I'm not thinking of that. I'm just thinking of going up and down chord, scales, right? You do the exact same thing with a G chord, all right? So let's take this voicing first, where your middle finger is rooting the G, the lowest string, 3rd fret, E, F, F sharp, G. That's where it gets its name, the root note. Your pointer finger's on the 2nd fret of the A string, and then we'll put your ring finger all the way at the bottom. All right, now again, we're gonna use those same notes, open 2, open 1, 3, open 1, 3. But you'll notice, a lot of times when your middle finger and your pointer finger are anchoring the chord on the lower part, it's near impossible to reach the 1st fret on the B and E string, right? Like if I were to try to get my ring finger to get back, that's not gonna work, okay? So this is gonna be context, or maybe we wanna use a different G chord voicing to open up more melodic possibilities from using these different notes in the scale that we learned, right? So let's take a C major shape, but move it up a string. So now we get the low part of the G chord, the 3rd fret on the A string, and the 2nd fret on the B string with my ring finger and my middle finger. And now we can really kind of open up the pointer finger and the pinky to grab those higher notes. Okay? So it's really just kind of like seeing in your mind's eye that, all right, what's available for me in this key? I've got open 2, open 1, 3, open 1, 3. And then you can just start playing like. Maybe do a C major chord. A minor, back to G, and then end up on C. Okay? All of it's going to sound good. It's all going to be correct. It doesn't really matter. You don't even have to think about what chords you're making. It's just really putting those notes on top of the chords that you probably already know. And those are just 3 examples of the 6 main chords in the key of C. We haven't even talked about like a D minor that you can do the same thing with. Again, really, this isn't about memorizing one specific way to do it. It's about just learning what is available to you and what's possible to you, so you can start using your own creativity and start just getting like a hang of the fretboard and knowing just kind of how to work your way around it, right? The other chords we haven't done in the key of C, which I really challenge you to try to like go on and add these notes to, would be a D minor chord, an E minor chord, and an F major chord. Okay? So just work through any of these and it'll always kind of bring you back home to C major. Now the same is true in any key, but again, I think C is like the best one to do because again, all the open strings are helping you out. So there's some really easy ways to do a lot of these chords and start making different chords and start working melody into your chord progressions. So definitely check that out. Really familiarize yourself with even the lower and the high strings of that key, and then start working through all the different chord voicings that maybe you know, that we've talked about in this video and other videos that we've done here. And then definitely let us know if you have questions or if you want to see this in maybe different keys, other types of guitar videos that you want to see, because we're always looking for your feedback. So definitely hit us up in the comment section and make sure to click any of the surrounding videos to see other stuff like this from myself, other great instructors, all on the Guitar Control channel. And thank you so much for checking it out, and keep on rocking.